Thank you for joining us here on the NPTE Final Frontier podcast. My name is David.
And my name is Emily. Today, we will be interviewing Joseph Reinke from FitBux. Now, Joseph is the chartered financial analyst behind FitBux. He has experience in handling student loans, mortgages, wealth management, and investment banking. FitBux has helped over 50,000 DPTs over the past 9 years. FitBux has also managed over $2.7 billion in assets and debts. Now, while Joseph may not be a physical therapist himself, his wonderful wife is a physical therapist, so he is involved within this field. Now, Joseph, thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be on and help everybody and keep diving into finances. So thanks for having me.
Which is definitely needed.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, what led to you creating FitBux? What led to the creation of it?
I actually stumbled upon it. My whole journey into wealth management in general, I never wanted to be in wealth management. I learned money when I was younger because I wanted to do what I wanted to do in life, which was playing sports, but be able to know enough about money where I could just invest and do stuff. So I started investing when I was about 12 years old. And what ended up happening was after I got done playing sports in college, couldn't play anymore, went to go work in professional sports, and I was like, screw this, I'm going to like Wall Street just to make a ton of money. I couldn't get the jobs on Wall Street because I had turned down all my internships while I was in school because I was playing sports. And so I made a deal with a very large bank. It's called BNP Paribas. They're huge. They're a French bank. They owned a branch or a small bank in Northern California. And they said, look, if you go into our wealth management department while you're getting your CFA charter, which is basically like a doctorate or postdoctorate in finance, while you're getting that, you can be in our wealth management department. Once you get that, we could switch you over to our investment analytics department. I'm like, this is great. Like, I get to go work on, basically Wall Street for the biggest bank in the world. Um, Long story short, I I got the CFA charter, and then I've been so deep into wealth management at that point because it takes about 3 or 4 years to get the charter. When I told them I was ready to switch, they said, "No, you're not. Like you're doing too well in wealth management, right?" So I quit, went in investment banking and all that type of stuff. But in wealth management, I started back in like 2008, 2009, right when the mortgage crisis was hitting. And I'll never forget like those first few weeks, I was having 50, 55, 60-year-olds coming into me that had financial plans, that had planners for 20 years that were paying them 3, 4, 5 grand a year. And they're coming in missing all their goals. And I'm like, how does this happen? And I'm huge on data and like behavior. So I started taking data and behavioral analytics and all this type of stuff. And I started realizing these problems all throughout the world of finance. And there's a consumer problem where like you're trying to put all these things together in an efficient way and piece it all together. Financial planners can't really do that just because of the way the industry is set up is geared more towards like just asset management and insurance types of things for older people. So where do younger people go? What about student loan debt? What about mortgage debt? What about credit cards? What about all these other things like family planning, fertility treatments? Like all these things that affect us, no one's there for it. And then on the business side, it's like, well, how do you connect all these tools that can actually help people? Like, there's no way to connect them all. And that's, I just started creating a bunch of algorithms and trying to piece it all together and finally pieced it all together and said, hey, let's go roll this thing out with a technology and a service. So, that's how I kind of stumbled upon it in the wealth management. Glad I did because I get to help people that actually need it. Whereas when you're in like investment banking and that side of the world, it's like, great, I just made a bunch of money for somebody that already has a bunch of money. This isn't really
Yeah.
helping. So, um, that's the short-winded story of how I got here. I could provide way more details and go on for like 20 minutes if you guys want me to, but
So to kind
that's
of
how we
go
got
off,
here.
you mentioned helping people. So specifically, how did you see that connection of FitBucks and physical therapy, especially within, PTs and PTAs?
Yeah. I always had this desire to create something like that helps people. I just, engineering, whatever it is, like something, a tool that helps people. And kind of my mindset around it was always like money, there's nothing I can create with money that would actually help people. but I'm not an engineer. I'm not a tech person. I'm not a coder. I'm not a doctor. I'm not anything. So for a long time, I was like, what am I supposed to do? And I started creating these algorithms. And, to go back to that story, I originally started creating that stuff for myself, just so I could be more efficient and not end up like everybody else where they're 60 years old with no money. And then I started using it with my friends and my relatives, and it's like, holy shit, this works. And my wife was like, you should start a company around this. You should build this. You should build this. And I was like, well, I just don't see it really helping mass amount of people. And she was actually doing her fellowship. So up in Northern California, and we were at a retirement party for one of the people that had been there that had ran that program for like 20, 30 years. And she was actually not a PT. She just helped run the program. And I'm like, holy cow, here's someone that, through her work has affected like 300 PTs, brought them to the top of the game, and then they turn around and treat like literally thousands of patients, but then they also teach the next generation as well. So she's had an indirect impact with all these things. So if I take this technology and all it does is reduce the amount of stress that people have around money so they know that they're getting an actual plan that can work. Instead of just feeling right, you can reduce stress and you can reduce anxiety. And so, like in healthcare, you end up having better patient outcomes because you're focused on that instead of stressed out about money. You have better family relationships. You have all these things line up afterwards. And so that's where it really kicked off was like, okay, I could actually use this to help people, in an indirect way, even though it just might be about money, their profession might be helping other people in other ways. So that's why I was like, yeah, let's go start doing it.
No, that's a great way. I never thought about how you're not only impacting, me as the consumer if I needed help with my loans and management, but you're also helping my patients because if I'm able to go to work with, a more positive outlook, less stress, just be there present and not worried about all of those financials, you're right. I am providing better care. So you're able to kind of FitBux is providing care to more than just, us as the physical therapists utilizing your services, but our patients too. That's a great approach.
Yeah, the big elephant in the room that people don't ever talk about is when you look at industry burnout, not just PTs, but all healthcare. When you look at divorce rates, when you look at suicide rates, when you look at depression, anxiety, across the board, one of the top three reasons on all that is financial.
Hmm.
And a lot of it is just because people don't know what to do. And when you don't know, that creates stress and anxiety. So if you can
Yeah.
eliminate that and say, yes, I know what I'm supposed to do, then you're better off across the board.
It's like, I think you got a new slogan. It's FitBux, providing care for those who care,
There you go.
right?
There you go. That's why I need to hire a marketing team.
Providing care for those who care. You know, I think that's
I
great.
love it.
And, so what different packages and deals do you have, and how does it benefit a PT or a PTA to utilize FitBux?
Um, so the packages all centered around right now we offer just a monthly subscription. This is our main product is a monthly subscription. That's affordable, so it's $18 a month. If you buy the annual one, it's cheaper, but it's meant to replace financial planners because they're not affordable for young professionals, plus their knowledge is limited. It's there to help you with products. So everything from like, should I be student loan refinancing? Like, where do I get a mortgage, like a professional mortgage loan for DPTs? Where do I go to get that? What about my investments? Like, what do I do with my 401k? What do I do with my Roth IRAs? Can you actually invest for me? The answer is yes. And then we provide ongoing, whenever you need help, just you can call, schedule a call, you could track everything. And it's all included underneath one package. And it's not just technology. We actually encourage this to especially when you first sign up. Schedule a call with us, and we'll help you set up everything, get your answers, build out the plan with you. And so that's the package that we offer to the public. For students, we do have a student version that we're revamping right now. I'm going to be rolling out in a few weeks here. And then recently, this we kind of stumbled upon this. Everybody that's in school right now that's listening to this, go tell your professors about this. We rolled out financial wellness curriculum because we had started working with a number of programs that we were doing webinars for for the third years right before they graduate, and they're like, "Well, can we do a curriculum we can tie into the program?" And so we said, "Yeah." So as of this month, we're now in I think 39 DPT programs with that curriculum, and it continues to grow. So if you're a student and you want that for your program, let us know.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome, and it could definitely be so beneficial because I think one of the things that gets neglected in schooling is financial aspects with how to manage your loans, how to go about investing, how to go about what should you do with 401ks, Roth IRAs, stuff like that within the schools, and how to manage that after schools and balancing it with your loans and this and that. So it's definitely very beneficial with what you're doing in FitBux. I definitely see the relation with everything with it.
Yep.
Yeah, so now with that being said, let's kind of stay on the financial conversations. What is one thing you feel that could be done better or differently within the physical therapy profession?
Just one. Do you mean from the industry standpoint or from the individual standpoint?
Either or.
Um, from the individual standpoint, it's more of saying, like, what do I need to know? And what do I need to focus on? And avoiding the big mistakes that people make. And what I mean by that, in terms of the big mistake, is in the world of finance, it's actually the same thing with healthcare. Like you should say, hey, you should do an annual checkup. How many people actually do the annual checkup, right? Like they really only go to the doctor when they actually have pain, like when there's a problem. Well, finance is the same way. And what ends up happening is that if you have a problem, say with student loans, you'll try to get an answer just for student loans. Or if you don't know what you're doing with investments, maybe you go and get investment help. Or if you need to buy a house, now you go to a real estate agent and a mortgage broker. And so people just go to these individual silos, but the reality is all those things are connected. And if you come to us and you tell me I only want student loan help, don't worry about everything else, we're not going to be able to help you because it's like, okay, well, if you do this with your student loans, but you know you're getting married in 2 years, you guys want to buy a house, you're like, all that can be affected by your student loans and actually can prevent you from doing those things. So you need to look at everything as a whole. And so when people don't do that, especially I've seen a lot of PTs do that, they just look at that one individual piece. It ends up costing them literally hundreds of thousands of dollars in the long run because of the inefficiencies it creates. So the one major piece of financial advice that I can give everybody is making sure that you're not looking at those things in isolation. It has to be connecting all of them together in order to know, hey, I'm doing this plan, this is what we're doing, and I'm not going to waste a ton of money. Um, Now I'll take it one step up further from that. Don't be scared. Like, and also the ego side of it too. Like, um, we deal, obviously, DPTs are smart, right? And this is not just DPT related, this is all healthcare that I see. A lot of them are afraid to admit that they don't know what they don't know. And so a lot of times I see people like, oh, I don't really need to get help. They say that like at a conference or something to me because they're around their bunch of their friends and then they call us and they really do want help because, so let that guard down and be like, look, I'm not an expert at this. I'm an expert in PT. Like I need to go get help and go get help. Like, so those two things are the main things from the individual standpoint.
That's interesting, and it's so important to know and recognize that you need help with your finances, especially before it gets too late.
Yep,
You know.
exactly.
So it's time for a fun question, a surprise question that you were not looped in about.
Uh-oh.
So it's not going to be a brain buster, but seeing that you have helped so many with their money management, a very, very popular game about money management is Monopoly. Monopoly deals with a lot of that money management. So, what is your all time favorite board game?
Board game.
Yeah.
Um, I would have to say Monopoly, actually. I used to
The
want to
Shocker.
shoe
play,
fits.
yeah, I used to want to play Monopoly all the time. Like that was like the game that I grew up playing, especially because my dad was into real estate. So like that's all I ever played. I'd play by myself and pretend I was four different people. Um, so that was the big one. Now that I have a 7-year-old, that's probably changed a little bit. Like she likes playing Trouble. So, I'm a big like data probability type of person. So I analyze like on the board, like should I just move one piece? Should I move two? So
Yeah.
I like that stuff. But now she's actually starting to get into Monopoly too because Grandma bought her like children's Monopoly. So now we started playing that. So, but yeah, Monopoly was the game that I always grew up playing and mortgaging houses and all that fun stuff. So.
That's awesome. And now they have so many varieties of Monopoly. They have, you name it, they have it. Star Wars Monopoly, Game of Thrones Monopoly.
Oh yeah,
So
like my mom always makes fun of me. She saw the Star Wars one in Target. She was like, if they would have had that when you were little, that's all you would have played.
I'm
Yep.
sure. I'm sure. Emily, what about you? What's your favorite board game?
Oh, jeez. Growing up, I used to be obsessed with playing Pretty Pretty Princess at my grandma's house. But overall, I actually love Life. I know it's a long game, but I like playing Life with like a group. What about you?
I think it is a board game. I'm gonna go with checkers. I've always been a fan of checkers. Quick, easy. Monopoly is a close second, and then I always enjoyed Clue as well as as a third
Wait,
place.
this is bringing up so many memories. Now maybe I prefer Shoots and Ladders.
That's a
I
good
want to
one.
start I want to start playing board games again.
Oh, the other one that I really like too, I'll throw this one in in the realm is Clue.
Yeah,
Like I
Clue
always
is
wanted to
good.
growing up, one of the things I wanted to do was the FBI profile. So Clue was like the detective game, like trying to figure it out. Like that was
You
the other
really
big
do
one.
love analysis.
Yeah, I'm a data dork. So
Clue is a great movie as well.
is it? We'll have to watch that one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Joseph, how can our listeners get in touch with you? How can they find you on social media? What's your website? Give us the info.
Yeah, so website is fitbux.com. That's where you can go sign up, get help. If you guys are looking for educational content, our FitBux YouTube channel is the best place. We started posting a lot of content there about a year ago, actually about 6 months ago. And then Facebook, Instagram. Instagram's at FitBux Official. And those are the three primary ways to either get in contact with us or follow us for content and start learning and making sure you're abreast of all the changes going on, especially with student loans, and all that fun stuff. So,
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. I know our listeners must have found this extremely beneficial because I found it extremely beneficial, and I'm going to be reaching out to you privately to manage some finances. So thank you again so much. We really appreciate having you here today.
yeah, thank you guys.
Now that you heard our interview with Joseph Reinke of FitBux, here's a quote from Vince Lombardi. We would accomplish many more things if we did not think of them as impossible. So start to view everything as something that's possible. Go get your dreams, chase it down, and just do it. You are powerful. You are strong. You are a final frontier warrior. You will pass.
Thank you very much for listening. For more information on the NPTE Final Frontier, please visit npteff.com. You can check out all of our social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, X, and Twitter.
Till next time, have a great day and a powerful tomorrow.